Yo, what is up, guys? It's your girl Bex, and welcome back to the race rundown following on from an exceptionally warm weekend at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. How are we, everyone? Have we survived the heat wave if you're from the UK? If you are not from the UK, how has your weather been? I'm curious. Let me know in the comments. So, before we get started, I just want to say hello to everybody. If you're new here, my name is Bex. This is our tiny little corner of the internet where we talk all things F1. If you're new here, please follow on all socials, subscribe, and join our little corner of the internet. Let's start off with the main point from this weekend, which is an 11th career pole for George Russell, with Antonelli obviously being number one driver at this point. I think it's important to highlight that George has his 11th career pole from the offset, because some people may think that I favour Antonelli over George, and you would be correct if you think that. So let's just say something nice about George from the off, shall we? Okay, let's get started. So George on pole, Antonelli off twice in 3 corners. What on earth was going on there? Lewis up into second and Antonelli off again 2 times before lap 2. Absolutely insane. Max is around Kimi and Charles. Absolutely unreal driving from him, but that is what we expect when the Red Bulls are at the Red Bull Ring. Bottas' brakes were literally on fire. He comes into the pits, there were fire extinguishers everywhere because he was literally on fire. Kimi noted twice for leaving the track and gaining an advantage, with Liam Lawson's car also supposedly on fire due to the heat, but we couldn't actually see any flames, which is very worrying. Perez was also on fire as well, with Bortoleto being noted for forcing another driver off the track. We are having a problem here, and I will talk about this at the end, with Charles running out of battery power and Kimi just goes straight past him. I will talk about this and Silverstone in a minute, but this is a problem that we could see an awful lot in this coming race weekend. Max and Lewis scrapping once again. What a sight it was to see. It felt like 2021 all over again. Can I say that? Well, I just have. So, Verstappen then pits with a quick pit stop and comes out behind Lewis, and the McLarens, of course, have no pace because we put all of our time and effort into last year. And it is becoming painfully apparent that we were not mentally prepared for this year with the regulation changes. Yay! Max and Lewis continuing to scrap, what we love to see, with Kimi complaining on the radio about his car. And we have the pit stop situation, which I'm going to pause and talk about this here. There was lots of talk around whether, with the virtual safety car following Carlos, obviously Kimi pitted during the yellow flag rather than the safety car, which came a lap afterwards. Lots of people were saying, did he pit too early, etc, etc. I personally think that he didn't have enough time to react from when Carlos stopped to where he was. So personally, I don't think he had time to react, because then obviously the virtual safety car comes out and he has a pit loss. So if, for those that aren't aware, a pit stop in Austria is around 20 to 22 seconds, roughly. Whereas if he was to pit under a virtual safety car because everybody slowed down, he would have lost half that amount of time. So about 10 to 12 seconds rather than 20, because obviously the pack slowed down by the safety car. So he lost himself for potentially a little bit of time there. However, I genuinely do not think that he could have pitted any earlier. The pit lane entry then gets closed as they push Carlos's car into the pits, so nobody can pit at that point. Stroll and Albon then both get hit with a yellow flag infringement. That's the only time that we have ever heard about Stroll this season, is either when he's complaining about the car or having to retire for other stupid reasons. The heat at this point is literally wreaking havoc on all the cars. The heat was absolutely wreaking havoc on my life at this point, so I feel like everybody in the UK could relate. Isaac Hadjar doing better in the second Red Bull. My notes here: have they finally changed the car to make it more fair for the second driver now that Horner's gone? I'm not shocked by this. I feel like they built the car around Max, and that's why Max was doing really well, and it seems that they've levelled the playing field now, and because of that, yes, they've levelled the playing field and both cars are better together as a team, but Max is obviously not winning races at the moment because of that. So, could that be a problem? If you're a Red Bull fan, yes. If you're not a Red Bull fan, no, because it makes racing more interesting. Lando passes Charles on lap 59. Yay, finally, some action from the current reigning world champion. Yeah, it's not looking good. 2.2 seconds separates George and Max towards the end of the race. Obviously, then having George first, Max second, and Antonelli third. Well done to Mercedes for being consistent in the podiums. Well done to Woody from Toy Story for getting yet another podium. Shout out to you. I still think you're overrated, but whatever. And Kimi maintains his lead at the top for the World Drivers' Championship. Good for you, Kimi. Good for you. You are amazing. So, now, at the time of recording, it is currently the 30th of June. So, this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, for all the UK fans out there, it is our time. It is finally Silverstone. F1 is coming home. Football's not coming home, but F1 is definitely coming home. And with Silverstone brings liveries galore, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to talk quickly about the McLaren heritage-inspired livery for the British GP. It has mixed opinions here, ladies and gentlemen. I really like it. I think it looks really cool. I think the Google colours really pop. I feel like it's a great nod to the old school racing green of the McLarens from back in the day in 1966. And I love it. A lot of people are also saying that it looks too similar to an Aston Martin. Again, I think it's the British racing green that is causing the issues here. I like it, personally. I think it's better than the Sprite-coloured Monaco livery we had a couple years ago. So, I think it's a great way for them to pay homage to the history and the heritage with the design. And I love the British racing green. I always have. I think it's stunning, personally. Lots of people don't like it. I do personally, but yeah, lots of people don't. Oh, another livery that's super duper boring for this weekend is Williams. It will sport a Union Jack inspired livery at the British Grand Prix. Real original, considering half of their colours of the Great British flag are already on the car anyway, because they're an English team. They've barely changed it. Don't get me wrong, it looks cool, but they barely changed it, like at all. They have honestly changed a couple things and just been like, oh yeah, it's a livery change for Silverstone. No, it's not. You literally upped the amount of red on it and called it a day. There are some rumours that we have at the moment with Max potentially moving from Red Bull. Not surprised. He's a natural born winner and he's not winning at the moment. So it doesn't shock me that that is being floated around. The fact that Zach Brown is linked to that in any way is terrifying. Max is with Red Bull until 2028, but there's rumours that he might leave earlier. However, Zach Brown, okay, there's been a little bit of rumour, a bit of chatter around whether the reigning world champions, aka McLaren, would be sniffing around in Max's general direction. He luckily has cleared this up and said, absolutely not, he's happy with the current driver lineup. Thank the Lord, because when I first saw that headline, I was like, Zach, no, please. Zach, no, please. Please don't do this. I feel like it would harm Lando and Max's friendship in the long term if he did that. So the fact that they haven't and they're not going to go sniffing around is great. Do I think Max could replace George? Personally, I would like to see that because I feel like George has had plenty enough time now to show what he's made of and he's being outshone by a 19-year-old. I know Mercedes fans are going to be really upset about that and I apologise. And if you want to prove me wrong, feel free to comment underneath because I would love to hear your thoughts and feelings on this. I feel like if Kimi was underneath a world champion like Max, the pairing would be unreal. Unreal. Kimi would learn so much and it would just be absolutely unbelievable for him to have that mentorship so early on in his career. I think it would be great. So I would love to see him at Merc with Kimi. That's not me saying I want George to be out of a seat. Absolutely not. Obviously, George deserves to be there just as much as anyone else. But does he deserve to be in one of the top teams with his current performance at the moment? Personally, for me, no. But again, if anyone wants to, chat about this in the comments, let me know. I will be responding to comments. I'm happy to hear your thoughts, feelings, etc. on this. So, that's that. Another rumour that has also been spoken about is the whole Lewis announcing his retirement at Silverstone. I don't think that's going to happen personally. I think F1 need a way to stay in the headlines, and the second Lewis Hamilton gets bought up, they're pretty much guaranteed to have a headline. So I feel like that's their plan at the moment, which, fair play from a marketing perspective, but I think if I was to have an educated guess, I would say Lewis has got another year or two in red before he retires. By the end of his contract in 2027, I reckon that will be retirement for LH. Would I love to see him win an 8th before that? 100%. And I feel like if Ferrari were to step up and win him his 8th in that time, he would definitely retire. I think the only thing that would stop him from retiring in 2027 is if he hadn't won the 8th yet. I feel like he's got enough hunger, enough fire to keep going until he wins his 8th. Obviously within reason. He's not going to be like 50 and still in the seat of the car. Well, you never know. It's LH, he might be. But I think if he wins his 8th by the end of 2027, he'll retire. If he doesn't, he'll probably do it year by year, maybe up till 2028, 2029. But I don't think we'll see Lewis on the track anymore from 2030 onwards, which I know everyone's thinking, oh, that's 4 years from now. That's still a really long time. Yeah, it is. It is a long time. But I feel like if he hasn't got his 8th by then, he might just call it curtains and call it a day. Which, can you blame him? He's 41 now. So he'll be 45 by then. You know? And I know that doesn't mean anything because Fernando Alonso is how old? Currently 44 and he's going super strong. So you just never know. But obviously Fernando has retired. Lewis has been going flat out since. So you never know. I personally don't see him racing past 2030, but that's just me. So on that note, minus obviously any other news to talk about, because there isn't a lot going on at the moment besides obviously Charles' contract extension and off-track news with Kim, which I don't really want to keep going on about Lewis and Kim. I feel like all Sky F1 are doing at the moment is going on about Lewis and Kim. Like, good for them. They're together. Have fun. Like, I don't want this place, I don't want our little corner of the internet to become a Lewis and Kim podcast. Don't get me wrong. I watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians purely for a moment to turn my brain off, but I don't want this podcast to turn into that. So, with that being said, we have Silverstone this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. And we have practice on the 3rd, sprint qualifying at 4:30 p.m, with the sprint at 12 o'clock on the 4th, with qualifying at 4 p.m, and the race at 3 p.m. on the 5th until 5 p.m. Fantastic. With that being said, I've been your girl Bex. This has been the Race Rundown, and I'll catch you after Silverstone. Peace!